will come back to your life. That joy will come back to your life. Hi, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about grieving in the grieving process, and also one other aspect of grieving that I believe is necessary as well. So earlier this year, February 22nd, the early morning of February 22nd, at about 1:15 in the morning, my dad went unconscious. He had his heart had stopped, and myself and my daughter, we both live with my parents, which is a whole nother story that I will talk about as well. But so about 1:15 in the morning, my mom had woken me up that my dad had actually fell out of bed and she couldn't get him up and she needed help. When I got to the room, it did seem as though he was still breathing, but it also seemed like gurgling. And one thing about my dad is that anytime anything, if you nudged him, he would pretty much wake up. Like, so I shook him, I kind of poked him and said, and he wasn't moving, and he was face down. We called 911, and as we were on the phone with 911, it seemed like he had stopped completely breathing. My dad is a lot larger than me and my mom, and so we needed to get him turned over and perform CPR, which I performed CPR. And so paramedics arrived and they took over, and he was taken to the hospital. Now, he had been without oxygen for about 30 minutes is what they estimate before they were able to get his heart back. And he wasn't breathing on his own. He was actually hooked up to a ventilator to breathe that did 100% of his breathing for him. And over the next few days, they did whatever they could to make sure they preserved his brain as much as possible. But by day 4, he was found to have no brain activity. And throughout those 4 days, he was also having consistent seizures. And when we realized that there was no further quality of life, my mom, my brother, and myself made the hard decision to remove him off of life support. And let him go. And so I wanted to talk to you about the grieving process, because sometimes as believers or anybody, you kind of wonder why now. My dad was only 67 years old. He had just retired from his job like the month prior. So it definitely seemed unfair. But through my faith and with my family, we were able to understand in some ways why, in some ways that it was his time, and so that's where I am today. But there are typically 5 steps through the process of grieving, which being 1, denial is the first stage usually, then anger, thirdly, bargaining and guilt, 4th is depression, and 5th is acceptance. And while my dad had some health issues and stuff, I never expected him to pass this soon, and it was kind of sudden. But he dealt with a lot of pain in his body for years, and it only progressed and getting worse. And so I did have initially confidence in knowing that, you know what, he's without pain, he's healed, and he's fully free from that body that no longer served him. And so I feel he is around us, he's still with us, you know, his presence and watching over us, but he's no longer in that pain. And while yes, it still hurts that he's not here with us physically, you know, I have confidence in knowing that he's well, you know, I believe he's in heaven, you know. But so anyway, I wanted to go through denial, and sometimes you do go through denial, like your brain is trying to understand like the why, like, no, this can't be real, like, and I definitely went through those. But just know that through all of it, God is there with you. God says his strength is made perfect in weakness. And during grieving, you are definitely in a weak state, but God's strength is there to cover you. And so when you are going through that denial phase and thinking just like this can't be real and wrapping your head around it, a lot of times it does go into anger. And I was angry. I was angry at my dad. I was angry at God. I was angry at everyone. Like, why now? Why couldn't he wait? Like, you know, why couldn't he wait until years later? You know, my daughter, she's only 6, and was the primary father figure in her life. And it's just kind of like, well, why him now, getting taken away from her as well? You know, she's so young and going through the grieving process herself. And, you know, it's natural to feel anger even towards the person, because I'm just like, why? Like, he could have taken better care of himself. He didn't listen about, you know, eating this or doing this or exercising or what have you, you know. And it was like, it's okay to feel that anger. And I want people to know it's okay to feel that anger. It's okay to go through this process. It's something that's needed, because it will move you into that next phase of bargaining and even guilt and feeling guilty. Like, why? What else could I have done? Maybe if I would have did this or would have said this or would have, you know. But I know leading up to that point, there was many times and many conversations that I was able to have with my dad that, you know, about memories and how grateful I was for different times in my life where he was there for me. And so I was appreciative of that. But I did move into the depression phase of it as well, where tremendous sadness, just like, well, really, what's the point in life? Like, why am I still here? What, you know. And of course, you know, knowing I'm still here, I have a wonderful daughter to take care of, and my mom and the rest of my family, and we are here for a reason and for a purpose, that God has us here for a purpose. And then sometimes you think like, But what about my dad? Didn't he have purpose too? Like, you know, and sometimes the depression or some of our feelings can come out of a selfishness too, for wanting that person here, where ultimately I did have to come to terms and realize that I think my dad was ready. As hard as that may sound, I believe he was ready. He was in tremendous pain. I mean, just walking 10, 15 feet, almost being in tears. And my dad is a pretty strong guy. He doesn't really cry, you know, and for the pain to be that extensive, I think he was at a point of being ready. And so I couldn't let my selfishness get in the way of that. But depression is something natural to feel, that sadness of that loss. I mean, you just lost somebody important to you. And it may not even be a person or a human. I mean, it could be a pet. You can be grieving a pet. Pets are families, part of our family too. And, you know, or even a relationship sometimes, or a phase of our life too sometimes can be sad too, to grieve a phase of our life that didn't turn out how it was supposed to be. So there's different things we can be grieving for, and all of it is relevant. And that's something I want you to know, that your feelings are relevant, but you mustn't stay there. Hi, this is Ariel here, just going through the editing Ariel here. And I just wanted to mention also that something that I didn't mention in the video about grieving is that it is also okay to seek help if you need help. Make sure that you're getting help, whether you're talking to someone, talking to a family member, or even talking to a therapist. Make sure that you are seeking help if you find yourself not being able to move through the different phases of grieving. And it's okay. It's okay if you need help. It's okay if you need help through the process. That's what people are here for. There's many people that would be happy and even honored to talk to you about whatever it is that you're going through. Make sure it's someone that you trust. Make sure it's somebody that you can rely on and that you know that it's really there for you, whether it be a family member, a friend, or even seeking out therapy. And I hope that all is well, and that helps you as well. So just wanted to put that in here, because grieving is definitely a process that is difficult for many people to get through. And there's no set time limit on how long it takes for you to grieve. There's no set time limit on when you will be done grieving. It may take us, you know, everybody is different. And so if you need that help, seek that help, and there's no shame in that. The depression is part of getting you to the next phase, which is acceptance. Acceptance is knowing that, you know, that person is no longer here, or that situation, or that relationship, and accepting that is a new part of your life, and your life is essentially starting or moving forward without that person. I mean, I still go through days where I'm sad because I'm just like, wow, it's really been this many months since it's happened, and it seems like it just happened. But, you know, life waits for no one, you know, and you must keep going. And there is purpose in you continuing to go on and to live your life. You know, what would that person want for you? And I know for my dad wouldn't want us to be hung up on the fact that he's gone. My dad wouldn't want us to still be staying in that same place or be grieving. He would want us to be happy. He would want us to live a life fulfilled And that's what our Heavenly Father wants for us as well, is to keep going, to stay in purpose, and use whatever it is that you have learned or gone through, and use that as a testimony and testament to someone else who may be going through the same thing. And I believe also grieving teaches us empathy, because there were so many times that, you know, even when my dad was in the hospital in ICU for those 5 days, and I would be out and about, and people had no idea what I was going through. People, you know, I would still, you know, you still have to live life. I still had to go grocery shop. I still had to get things for my daughter. You know, I still had to take her to school, and there was different things that I still had to function in and do to help and be there and help my mom, and be there to help my brother and my nephew, and, you know, and other family members, and constantly be in contact with different people, and keeping a broad amount of people up to date on the situation. But in day-to-day life, you know, going to the grocery store, that cashier didn't know what I was going through. That checkout person didn't know what I was going through, or whoever, you know, strangers that pass by, or just driving, you know, other drivers around you, they don't know. And so I think it also helped to develop a level of empathy that, you know, that person that may be upset at you, or that person that may have cut you off, or that person that whatever may have had an attitude towards you, or didn't say hi in the nicest manner, or whatever, didn't wave, it helps you to understand that somebody might be going through something that you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what it is that they might be experiencing then in that moment. And so I think that we just all need to be a little bit kinder, you know, to one another, and a little bit more understanding that, yes, that person may not have treated you the best, or that stranger might have had an attitude towards you, you know, at the grocery store, but you never know what that person might be experiencing in their life. And so that has helped me to definitely show a little bit more love and gratitude, even and empathy towards other people. So, but yes, and also gratitude. I'm so thankful for the time that I had with my dad. I'm so thankful for the time that we got to share, and even living here in some way, having to move back home. In some way, it was almost like it was necessary, so I did get to spend and have the opportunity to spend, and not only my daughter, not only me, but my daughter as well, having the opportunity to spend with her pop. So that helped me to get through the depression, and then the acceptance too. And knowing that now, you know, he's in our memories, he's in our heart, he still feels like he's around us, and that it's okay for us to move on. Which gets me to my next phase. Personally, I feel like there is a phase as well of letting go. And it's not that you're completely like acting like that person no longer exists, or a situation, or a relationship, but you're letting go of sometimes those future plans that you might have had with that person, future goals that you might have had, you know. That was one thing that I think was hardest for me, was letting go. Like, we were planning to go on a trip. We really wanted to plan a vacation, and so it's like going and doing things without that person now, but we had to let go. And the letting go is part of moving on. It's part of the acceptance. But letting go helps you to know that regardless of if that person is no longer here, regardless of if you've moved forward out of that relationship, now you still have life to live. You still have plans to make for yourself. Know this, that the Holy Spirit was sent as our comforter and our guide. And wherever you're grieving, God is there for you. The Holy Spirit is there for you to comfort and guide you in this next part, in this next phase of your life. So hold on and know that you have God on your side, that you have strength, that God will be there for you and is your strength. Even it says that weeping may be for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And that's not necessarily literally talking about one day you're crying and the next day you're happy, but that joy will come back to your life. That joy will come back to your life. And one of the things that our pastor said that did the funeral service, he said that usually a loss, you may never get over it, but you get through it, and you will get through it, and you will be able to smile again. You will be able to laugh again. You will be able to love again. If it may be a broken up relationship, you will love again. You will experience life again. And the point is to keep moving forward. Keep going forward. Take one step at a time. As I just felt like that was the most cliche thing to say, to be honest, going through this grieving process. That everybody would just, it's just one day at a time, it's just one step at a time, just put one foot in front of the other, and it felt so like whatever, but it's really true. It takes one step at a time. One day you may be up, or one day you may be down, but the point is to keep going. Keep going. You will get through this. God will not put on you more than you can bear. And I know sometimes in that moment it feels like the weight of the world is bearing down on you. And it feels like you can never get through it. But you will. You will. The sun will shine again. It's not cloudy always. And you will, and that joy will come, and you will remember something that person said or something that happened, and it will make you laugh. It may even make you laugh and cry at the same time, but it's a way of letting you know that you are alive, you are here, you are important as well, and that person that you may have lost will want you to keep moving forward. And if it's a relationship that you lost, you keep moving forward regardless of how that other person feels, regardless of what happened there. You keep moving forward for you, for your child, and for your own future. And know that God is always by our side. He said he will never leave us nor forsake us. So I hope that this has helped. I want to make another video about lessons I have learned from my father and from his death. And I hope that you continue on this journey with me. I have another video that I had posted previously, so if you can do me a favor and thumbs up this video, like, comment, I hope that you have a beautiful and wonderful day. And I hope that you know that you are so loved and you will get through it. Until next time, bye.